Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, Umber-Rays, where today we're going to be reviewing the brand new version of Rain. Look, normally we get right into this, but I feel like I kind of gotta talk a little bit about how this happened, because... Wait, Umber-Rays, didn't you say that you weren't gonna pull on this banner? Shut up, random viewer. I don't want to hear it from you. Not even in the comments, even if I don't hear it from you. I don't want to read it. I don't want to think about it. I don't even want to think about it thinking about it. Okay, let's actually talk about how this happened. Because while I was not interested in this banner at all, literally at all, I mean, if you want to know how uninterested I am in the banner, look at the daily. Look at the fact that the new version of Rain is not even available through daily summons, apparently. I don't think. If it is, he's not being advertised, and wow, I don't think I've ever seen this. Alum is being super greedy on this one, but what happened is while I was not interested in this banner, really, I was not interested in the 3-star, I was not interested in the 5-star, I was interested in Diesel here. So, I figured the rates were up. I have some 4-star tickets. I'll throw a 4-star ticket and see if I get lucky. Well, that didn't quite work. I accidentally clicked on a 3-star ticket, and I threw a 3-star ticket, and boom! A yellow dropped. Okay, alright. This 3-star has to, or this yellow crystal, I'll get Diesel, and bam! I'm done. Cracked into a rainbow. Shit. Alright, well, first rain achieved. Damn it. Alright, well, I'll just use a 4-star ticket again, and then I will get my Diesel. Crystal comes down, there's a yellow crystal, click it, cracks into another rainbow, bam, Rain 2. I see what you're doing, game, but I'm not gonna let you win. One more 4-star ticket, I got my Diesel. So, the start of this video, which is undoubtedly going to be a long one, sorry, I just want to admire how cool she is. Look at how cool that Limit Burst is. Look, she takes 2 swords, she makes 1. That is really cool. There is hope for Advent Children Cloud yet. But, with that being said, she was way too difficult to get, and she came at too high of a price. And yes, I do realize that I am complaining a little bit about spending 3 tickets and getting. This is not a brag thing. This is a whoops. Literally a whoops. But now that we have him, let's talk about him and show him off. Because I am not a big fan of this unit for a whole bunch of reasons. First of all, I gotta say, while the sprite is impressive, I really hate it. The fact that his 7-star version comes with the throne, and the throne disappears sometimes, I am not a big fan of. Also, while this Limit Burst is definitely a cool CG Limit Burst, like, the extended penis sword is less than overly impressive to me. I'm not a big fan of this version of Rain at all, although I will admit, yeah, it's a CG, whatever. And yeah, it is a pretty cool Limit Burst, even though it is a little E-peeny. And that's probably the best description I can use to describe this version of Rain, because he has gone straight E-penis. I don't know what happened between him and Laswell. Honestly, I've blocked Season 2 out of my mind at this point. But whatever it is, apparently he needed to lengthen his sword to really feel that masculinity. And guys, never be like that. It's okay. Don't worry. It's not the size of the boat, it's the motion of the ocean. Anyway, so let's talk about Awakened, of CG Rain. I'm probably going to call him Awakened Rain at least 100 times in this review. So first of all, TMR. TMR is absolutely incredible. There's no two ways about it. 28 attack, 45 defense, and more importantly is the abilities that this thing comes with. This heavy armor would be great for a ton of units, but Like, for instance, I wouldn't actually mind getting multiple copies of these and putting one on Lightning, because Lightning will probably do pretty well with this too, just because it ups limit burst damage by 30% and gives an extra 10% HP, while also having fairly decent attack. 28 attack and 45 defense is not bad stats at all for a piece of heavy armor. So yeah, this is pretty damn strong. As you can see, I've built mine being a little bit more HP-y, but that's another thing to talk about really quickly here. I should say that my build is not overly super TMR for this, although it is definitely some super TMRs in there. Just kind of the way it is on the JP side. Stat-wise, he has a lot of HP, a lot of defense, and his Spirit is nothing super great. Spirit is definitely probably his weakest stat, as well as I would say that his MP isn't great. Despite the fact of having 7% MP, he is probably going to need some MP support because he is not going to be able to regen fast enough. HP and attack, though, is stellar, really. The amount of attack that he has, as well as defense and HP, means that he should be a very survivable physical DPS. Looking at his limit burst, this is the big thing, as I mentioned earlier. This is just an insanely powerful limit burst. There are no two ways about it. Rain's main focus is just limit burst spam, and we'll talk about the best way to do that. With his own TMR or Super TMR, this also gets upgraded. It becomes an AoE 7-star maxed out AoE 30 hit, AoE 1750% physical attack, ignoring 50% defense with an AoE 100%, 120% even fire resist debuff for 2 turns. This is pretty good. Rain can equip himself with the fire attack regardless of his weapon, so it is particularly really just a powerful thing. His limit burst is definitely the strong. As a matter of fact, I would just say it's Hyo's limit burst 2.0. Like, it literally is. Maybe even 2.5. With the amount of modifiers you can get via equipment as well as just limit burst increasey stuff, you can get 140 times mod on Rain's limit burst. I'll just put that into perspective real quickly. Yeah, I really just said 180, or like a literally 140 times modifier on it. It is the highest modifier that we've seen in the game. It is, by all intents and purposes, insane to have this on a 30-hit AoE limit burst. Now, the other thing I haven't talked about yet is his Super TMR, which, here it is. It's a great sword. It's 174 in attack, and it has some basically true dual hand on it, as well as some extra, accuracy. It's really not as impressive as I thought it would be. 174 attack falls weaker than others, and just having some true dual hand on it is nice, but it's not necessary, so I'm less interested in his Super TMR. He has no magic spells, but it should be noted that his passives have some really important things, and I'm going to leave talking about the series boss battle till the end. So first of all, he gets, to start off, 50% attack boost, 50% HP, and 50% defense, as well as 50% to fire, earth, and lightning resistance. Again, really survivable just by having a lot of elementals. Resistance spread across multiple types, so just really good there. Also, 30% defense with Blind, Sleep, Paralysis, Confuse, and Petrify. Basically, the big confusion one, or the big bad things for DPS, Silence and Disease, of course, would be nice, but really, it's just pretty damn good regardless. From there, he also adds 50% attack when equipped with a greatsword and recover. It's fine. Recover 7% MP per turn. The 7% MP doesn't feel like enough. He has a fairly low amount of MP, so the MP regeneration, while it is slightly higher than 5%, just isn't quite good enough. You might want to think about adding some extra MP, and that's mainly because he has a lot of expensive abilities that can eat up a ton of MP, and he can basically keep triple cast up the entire time. So MP is a big investment for this guy. From there, 50% true dual hand to start. He has natural double casting basically all the time, and we'll talk about his double casting later. He also has Sunset Sun, which is a 100% chance to ignore one fatal attack when his HP is above 1%. Basically just permanent guts. Nothing really to say here other than it's just incredibly good. For equipping his own TMR or Super TMR, you get, at the start of fight, access to triple cast for 1 turn, as well as a 400% modifier to a lot of his abilities for 1 turn at the start of battle, which is kind of interesting. We haven't seen a unit that gives 400% modifiers at the start for 1 turn, but basically means he'll get off to a good start. And he gets a 50% attack bonus when true dual wielding, so that's a total, if you're keeping track at home, of 100% so far, 25% accuracy, and enhances that limit burst. More MP, more attack, more HP, and another 100% attack equip when true dual wielding. So yeah, if you're keeping track at home now, with his own TMR, basically the way I read it in his kit is he has 200% true dual wield in his kit naturally. That is a lot, meaning that you do not need really anything extra for him. If you have 1 Buster style, that is, and his TMR, you are good to go basically. And that is really, really strong. Looking at the rest of his kit, we get into abilities, and so again, not talking about the one that he gets from the series boss battle yet. Some of the things that I really like in his kit. First of all, I'm going to talk about Nullify, or I guess it's Nullify Saber. Basically, it is an AoE 180% a 2-hit attack, but it removes all status effects from 1 enemy. I'm not really sure why it says like that. It should be AoE if it's an AoE attack. Maybe it could be a parsing error. But just having a Dispel constantly accessible is a really big deal. There are times where in a trial you need as many people to have Dispel just in case something bad happens in a turn. This is good to have. He also has Aldor Leader, which is a consistently accessible 80% stat buff for everyone in the party for 3 turns. Just good to have. He has Undermine, which is just a 50% full break on a single target. Again, just really good to have in case you need it. And then we get into the part of this which I am not super crazy about, which is his chaining style. His chaining style is Stardust Ray. It is not AT, it is not Holy Explosion, and Stardust Ray has just not come that far yet. It's getting there, it really is. There really is starting to be quite the number of Stardust Ray chainers, but currently, other than himself, the only other real chaining partner I'm aware of that matches any of his elements is, without equipment or something else, excuse me, is a Stardust Ray Chainer by the name of Red 13. So naturally, he just doesn't have that many chaining partners yet. Again, element could just be circumvented by having a character with the right weapon, so it's not necessarily a deal breaker, but it is something to be considered. Force Saber is one of the more important abilities because it is basically a 10-hit ability. Well, it's his 10-hit chaining attack that recovers 3,000 HP for himself as well as 100 MP and enables triple cast for 1 turn. So basically by using this every turn, he can regenerate some MP, regenerate some HP, as well as give him triple cast for the next turn. And this is one of the things where it's kind of like CG Ignacio in that he has to constantly use this ability. But by using this ability, he's essentially making up some of the MP he's going to be using for other abilities, so that's really where it counts. What I really like in his kit in terms of DPS is his elemental ones. Fire, Earth, and Lightning are 3 fairly different elements that very unlikely an enemy is going to have immunity to all 3, meaning that rain can be brought to many different fights. But Not only are these 10-hit chaining abilities, not only can you give them higher modifiers through other abilities, they also have come each with an 80% debuff for their respective elements for 5 turns. Of course, single target. But the other thing is they add the elements to the attack, so it's an all-in-one ability. You can use you could use Blaze Saber, then Force Saber to regenerate basically all the MP that you use on those 2 abilities, gift the element and the debuff for multiple turns, and that is just super efficient. If anything, that's probably what I would say a lot about Rain, is that he has super high efficiency for using a ton of abilities and a ton of different abilities. Continuing on, he has Energy Wall Rise, an AoE 3000 HP barrier for 3 turns that is on constant demand. That is pretty cool. 3000 HP goes a long way to giving your party maybe enough survivability to survive a big attack, as well as, you know, damage mitigation and everything. So, I mean, it's pretty nice support to just have constant access to. From there, he has just a lot of 10 chaining hits. Grand Shelled Saber is his big one. This is the one you're probably going to be using after using any element, because it is just consistently there. It is backloaded damage, it ignores defense, and it also has stacking damage with 125% added to every use. So it is just a really strong long-term attack ability, especially when you are just elemental imbuing on 1 turn and then just going to town with this one. Probably good enough. From there, Battle Blood, which is somewhere in here. There's a lot of abilities. It's 50 MP. There it is. It's way at the bottom. Makes sense. Enables access to triple casting for 1 turn, as well as gives 150% modifier for a lot of his savers, which is really good and important, and just keeps the triple casting up, so that's also pretty nice. That's his first, or one of his, no, not his first 7-star, but in there now. Alright, now we get into the mess of cooldowns, starting with 2-turn cooldown, wrong one. They're both 50 MP, my apologies. No, that's not the right one either. Holy cow, man. Just like cooldowns on parade. I guess it is on a 3-turn cooldown. That's wrong on the database then. Healing Blood, AoE 5000 HP heal and 50 MP on a 2-turn, well, I guess it's a 3-turn cooldown. Available turn 1, just basically a consistent heal that you can use for the party. I don't really think there's anything bad about this. It's just a heal that you get every so many turns. Either way, it's just seems really good. Continuing on, his other 50 MP ability, Soul Blood, is a self plus 220% limit burst damage up for 2 turns, as well as a self limit burst gauge fill of 100, as well as a self 40% physical damage reduction for 1 turn on a 4-turn cooldown. Available turn 1. So yeah, upping limit burst damage is obviously very important for this guy, since his limit burst is so insanely strong. But also the self limit burst gauge fill plus 100. Basically, just he has really ways of accessing his limit burst constantly, and a 40% damage reduction for himself means that he's not gonna die. More than likely, especially if you stack other damage mitigation. If you put 50% damage mitigation as well as this damage mitigation for physical, that's really high mitigation. That's almost, in theory, with a 50%, you could get 90% physical mitigation, or roughly. Not sure how the stacking exactly works on that, but it seems nice. 99 MP is a 10-hit backloaded chaining damage. Royal Saber, just really strong backloaded damage. I would still prefer using the other one that you have just constant access to than this one. This one is nice in the short run, but the other one's better in the long run. 3-turn cooldown, available turn 3 means that you can't use it right away anyway, so I'm not entirely sure that it would be the best. But anyway, continuing on, King Saber is the next of his 10-hit chaining abilities, which is a stronger yet one on turn 6 on a 6-turn cooldown. So again, King Saber seems really nice, but unless it does something else, it just seems okay. I mean, if you're The other one can get up to a 700% modifier, so this being 600, I guess if you die somewhere in the middle, it's a good way to keep DPS without having to restack. Seems okay. And my favorite ability potentially ever named in a Brave Exvius, say hello to Full Arousal, just the best name, is an AoE 74% defense debuff for 4 turns, self 250% attack boost for 4 turns, self 100% attack break resistance for 4 turns, enables access to triple casting for 4 turns of basically every ability, and this is on a 6-turn cooldown available turn 1. This is just preparation for the end. This is insanely powerful, providing your enemy is not defense break immune. King Rain here is just going to rain hell down upon him if he hits the chant. But now we go back to the 2 abilities that we haven't talked about yet. These are for beating the series boss battle, and these are probably really, really important. First of all, 30% attack and defense, just really good, but a 1.5 times limit burst damage up for beating the series boss battle. This is essential since Rain is essentially just all limit burst damage, but the real ability that we got to talk about is his other cooldown that he gets, and this ability is just plain stupid. Single target, 10 hit, chaining ability with backloaded damage, ignoring defense, but more importantly, a self-limit burst fill of 30 crystals. So this ability is a chaining ability that actually gives him access to his limit burst. Pretty much every 2 turns. With Rain, it really is possible to limit burst spam. While Garland was a questionable one because you have to figure out how you're going to, you need a reliable way, King Rain here just can do it. He basically just can do it. So that is a really, 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 really big thing. So if you're going to get him, if you are going to focus on him, definitely going to want to focus on limit burst damage. I think that's the proper way. You can still get about 3,000 attack on this guy by just attack potting him up and having pretty darn good equipment, but you can also still stack limit burst damage up on him too, meaning that if you have Bahamut's tier as well as a ton of other stuff, this guy should just be the absolute insaniest limit burst spammer ever. Congratulations, Alum, you finally got a limit burster who is more powerful than I think anything else in the game. So, to really look over his kit just quickly one last time, Great Sword, just the positives first. Great Sword Dual Hand, I guess, is back. I mean, in a big way, it just seems here, and it's proving once again that Great Swords are kind of king of this game. Yay! Always triple cast. There's almost no way that you cannot keep triple cast constantly up on this guy, whether you're either modifying or just chaining damaging. The flexibility in this kit is insane, really, while keeping triple cast up, and his triple cast is just available over so many abilities. 3 elemental options is also fantastic too. It really gives Rain a lot of flexibility to how he is damaging an enemy, but his elemental options are also really compact nicely to just debuff the enemy, keep doing damage, and debuff them again. It's ridiculous, really. And just an amazing range of abilities. He really is. He's got HP barriers, he's got buffs, he's got damage. He has support in his kit, and he has some really nasty ways to do a lot of damage to enemies. Now, with that being said, let's take a real quick look at the negatives. Early impressions, I'm not entirely sure how his rotation will work. Really depends on how you can keep the MP recovery going. If you can keep the MP recovery going, then he'll probably be perfectly fine, but MP is probably the biggest concern that I have, and I'm not entirely sure, looking at his kit, where the optimal thing is, other than just beat the series boss battle, and then somehow get your, all of your shit together and just limit burst spam till the game is over. Chaining partners, big problem right now. If a ton of people get him, because let's face it, even though these summon fests are basically bullshit, people are spending money on them. So if Rain does actually show up in a lot of friend lists, he will be the new Haiyu. That is just it. Stardust Ray chaining is just not that quite good of a chaining family yet, but it's also not overly terrible, and it's gaining speed at this point. So even if I did want to say that I'm not a big fan of it, I also recognize that it is starting to become a thing. And almost guarantees that you need to beat the series boss battle for this one. Rain really needs those two abilities just for the extra limit burst damage, the extra attack, the extra defense is all really nice there. But honestly, that extra cooldown ability is so stupid that it basically is still chain damaging, but giving him a full limit burst means that he can almost be constantly just in a 2 ability rotation to keep it just limit bursting every 2 turns. And there isn't, I think, a unit in the game that can really keep up that much of a pace. CG Rain, unbelievable. And since this video has been going on for about 25 minutes already while I talk way too much about Rain, we're gonna cut this, and next time, we'll do the showcase. It's just easier. So, and I get to change music too, because I've been listening to this for too long, and you have too. So, see ya in about a minute for me, a couple hours between these video uploads, for part 2 when we look at the showcase.